Hey, thank you for taking your precious time to watch my YouTube videos. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell so that you can never miss any of my future uploads. It's Namloke guys, and welcome back to yet another video. It's been a while since I've made these types of videos. I mean, like I always say, it's basically becoming a song that I keep on saying. It's been a while this, it's been a while that, you know, the usual drill. But anyway, I hope your days have been good. I hope your weeks have been good. I hope the going is nice, and I hope that your life is your life is just life. I can't say full of joy because I mean, like I said, everything has to exist in an equilibrium. Anyway, I'm not here to blab about equilibriums, but today I'm here to talk about something that, let's just say, everyone is kinda everyone just kinda misses this point, and it's second order of thinking. So when I talk about second order of thinking, it's actually a book. Just go Google it and you can go through it. But what struck me about that point is that a lot of us go on in life making conscious decisions. And I mean, yes, it's good to think about a decision fully before you make it, but a lot of people do miss the secondary effects of whatever decisions we make. And when I talk about the second order of thinking, I'm thinking you're thinking about the secondary and the tertiary, let's just say things that are going to be affected because you made a certain decision at a particular time. See, a lot of us just always do a lot of stuff for instant gratification, or let's just say short-term pleasures, which if we look at maybe the secondary effects of what we do, we find that there is a lot of harmful things, or there's a lot of negativity associated with the decisions we make. And this is where, like, I like to say, like, things are somewhat in an equilibrium, where I usually tell people that there is no one decision that is completely right. Regardless of how right that decision is, there's always a secondary effect. So let me use the example of because I was reading a book called The Great Principles of I don't know, I think it's Thinking, or the Mental Models of Thinking. I don't even remember the book clearly, but he used the example of female empowerment. Okay, and again, listen, man, I'm not against anything. I just like to reason out ideas and situations. So he used the example of female empowerment, and he said, yes, that is good. We have empowered women, but we failed to see later on that the empowering of women is going to bring a neglect to the male, or let's just say it's going to breed something we call feminism. And you see, feminism is something that if you are in this era, you already know of it, you've already heard of it. I mean, you've seen it in action with all these things, my dress, my choice, and all that. So you see, as a consequence of empowering women, now women have become or let's just say what maybe made women to be people who, what can I say, like, what makes a woman compassionate on all this stuff is still there, but it's kinda eroded because the woman now has to think on her own, or let's just say there's independent thinking among women, which results to a high rate of divorce, which results to a high rate of single women. And this, let me just say, this is no study, it's just something that I have observed, that if a woman deems herself so successful, and in most cases, I'm not saying that majority, or I'm not saying that every successful woman doesn't have a family, but if you look at the so-called strong women we have nowadays, most of them are, if let's just say sadly, most of them are single. Okay, most of them don't have husbands, most of them don't have children, or just, like, let's use an example of who? People like Kamene Goro, I mean, people like Caroline Mutuko. You see, you get my point? These are people who are not married. And you see, as a consequence of female empowerment, that is what happens. Now, my point is not that we shouldn't empower women and all this. My point is, because we, at that current moment in time, so that it was fit to empower women, we did not think of the secondary effects that come about with female empowerment. And that just goes with every decision we make. The decision may be good to you according at that particular time or that particular moment in time. But remember, there are going to be secondary effects. Now, things like the internet was created as a way of people communicating, but the more advanced effects that have come with the internet is, you see, a lot of people have let's just say there's this term we call, and I think I talked about it in a live show, there's this term we call cyber balkanation, where people live in their own echo chambers, meaning that people only want to see the content they want to see. So people are just going to be stuck in their own little bubble out there, and they will not binge watch content that is questionable to them. And you see, that is as a result of the internet. Now, so you see, the thing to understand about any decision you make in your life, you need to look at the secondary effects. So is it worth making that decision right now? Is it worth the short-term pleasure? Because you see, it may be good right now, but remember, there's going to be consequences down the road. Let me use an example of a movie that is very popular right now. I think it's the highest grossing, I think it's the highest grossing movie of all time, the Avengers Endgame. So if you watched Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War, then you know that Doctor Strange had already seen the future, and for the plan to work to defeat Thanos, there are spoilers by the way, for the plan to defeat Thanos, for it to work, Doctor Strange knew that some of them had to be wiped away so that Tony Stark and the rest of the Avengers could figure out a way to bring everybody back. And you see, at the expense of his temporary death, did everyone come back. And you see, that's the game that I want all of you to play. Okay, this even includes me, this even includes everyone around me. It's not that I'm perfect, like I usually say, I'm not this perfect human being, and you should take everything I say with a grain of salt. That is the game that I want everyone to play, where I want you to factor in the secondary effects. It may be a loss right now, but remember, in future it may be of good value. Another good example regarding the same company that made that movie, Marvel Studios. Now, if you don't know, Marvel Studios in the past was really broke, like like around the year 1980 and all. I don't know if it's 1980, not 1980, 1990, 2001 there. Marvel sold some of its properties to stay afloat. And you see, although it came to bite them back in the back, eventually they were able to acquire all their IP back, excluding some few characters like Spider-Man, who still belong to Sony Pictures. Now, why am I talking about Marvel Studios? Is to show you that sometimes a loss isn't necessarily a loss. Sometimes you have to make losses so that, because because you had seen, or you had somewhat estimated that in the future, because you made the loss right now, in the future it is going to become a positive result. Now, when I say take this, or take whatever I say with a grain of salt, this is where I like to use the theory of probability. Just because a situation seems to be this way right now is not an actual 100% prediction of what the situation is going to be in future. So even if you're making a decision right now, it's good if you're considering the secondary or the tertiary effects of the decisions you make right now. It's good for you in future to make sure that you understand, or you just predict the bad, or what's the worst thing that can happen, or what's the good thing that can happen. Because once you have those variables, it's going to be easy to cope with life. So I hope I have talked some sense. I know today I have talked a lot of terminologies that are really complicated. Maybe at this point the video is even boring you because of me talking about these terminologies. But again, tertiary and second order of thinking, just think of all those stuff that I've talked about today, and think about, just because you are denying yourself something right now doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing for you. It just means that maybe in future it's going to bear more fruits. So as usual, I am Namlock. I hope you enjoyed my videos. I hope my videos have maybe inspire you to become a better person and have helped you make better decisions about your life. And yeah, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one.